Worship building. It can be large, it can hold a lot of people, and it helps us have an axiality, a direction where we're going. Now, the last really funky thing about these buildings from the outside is that the original Christian building, when you came up there, you would see the first basilica, it was just a big plain brick facade. And you would have come through the gateway of the city, and you would have looked up at this giant brick thing, and you would have gone, what a weird place to put a warehouse. So it looked very humble.
These statues of the apostles are the pillars of the church which hold the church up. You can notice they're the pillars that hold up the church. And right up there, we'll see it in a little bit, are two reliquaries, the gold busts of Peter and Paul, and inside it contains their skulls. And up to the front is the Pope's chair. This is the Basilica of Rome and the mother church of the world, and that is the papal chair ex cathedra, as people know. And to the right, over on the right, we'll see in a little bit, is a reliquary which contains part of the original table from Jerusalem, the Lord's Supper. Walk from Assisi here to meet the Pope, to be given permission to do all that he was going to do. And that when he arrived, where do you think he came? The popes weren't in St. Peter's, they were here. So St. Francis would have walked all the way from Assisi to here. So if you're walking to the front of this church, where do you think they would put a statue of St. Francis? Look over there, beyond the white truck to the left. See the statue? Most people never see this. But that's St. Francis holding his arms up. He's saying, I finally have made it to Rome. I've arrived at the chair of St. Peter. I am finally have reached Rome. See, it's right over there. It's way in the distance. See the tall, skinny pine trees? And there's St. Francis. And he's looking up at this church because this is the mother church of the world. This is the chair of Peter. This is where the popes live. And he's saying, I finally arrived after this long walk. And now I'm here to love and respect and obey Rome. St. Paul statue, where our movie on St. Paul begins, at the foot of that statue. And we're now entering the Church of St. Paul outside the walls, one of my favorite churches in Rome. This church is built over the bones of St. Paul. Here's our group. There it is. This is the chapel of St. Stephen in the Church of St. Paul's Bones. I wondered why one time and remembered that it was the prayers of St. Stephen that brought St. Paul into the church. Augustine said if it were not for the prayers of St. Stephen, the church would not have St. Paul. Tomb of St. Paul and the chains that bound him on his way to Rome, and the beautiful mosaic in the apse. We can also see along the church all the stories of St. Paul, all the way around the church, all the way up there. And the other side, the whole story of St. Paul in pictures. And also one of the things the church is famous for is the medallions of the popes, all of them, starting with Peter, Linus, Cletus, Clement, all the way around the church. You can see more here. Medallions of the popes, all the way around. And up here. And they end up right there with John Paul II, right there, and Benedict. And Benedict's successor, his medallion will go right there.
Cielito lindo, vienen bajando un par de ojitos negros, cielito lindo de contrabando. Ay, 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 canta y no llores, porque cantando se alegran, cielito lindo, los corazones. De la muerte a la vida, cielito lindo, no hay más que un paso.
All the crazies in the back of the bus.
Valentía, cielito lindo, dame un abrazo. Ay, 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 canta y no llores, porque cantando se alegran, cielito lindo, los corazones.